There's a little bit of magic in photographs. With a click of a button, we can capture a moment in time and keep it forever. At Rockbrook Camera, let their creative team help you transform these precious memories into unique holiday gifts to last a lifetime. Most people know Rockbrook Camera for their large selection of camera gear and expert photo advice, but they're also the area's best high-quality photo lab. Choose from a variety of gifts to personalize, such as their popular photo ornaments, high-quality canvas wraps, and photo mugs. With so many gift options ready to be personalized, it's easy to share a story, a moment, or a memory that's made to delight friends, family, or even yourself. Send joy through the mailbox with Rockbrook Camera's thoughtfully designed photo greeting cards, ready to pick up in 48 hours or less. Start creating today with help from Rockbrook Camera's friendly staff in-store or online in the convenience of your home. Visit Rockbrook Camera today, 1 block south of 168th and West Center in Omaha, 70th and Pioneers in Lincoln, or online at rockbrookcamera.com.
Hello everybody, welcome to 2017. Everything's new. After all, we have oh so many days to get through before Christmas comes again. The holidays are over. Don't have to worry about anything except for giving Dr. Martin Luther King his due. And, everything is just spick and span. Everything has been renewed. Oh dear God, there's a new presidential administration coming. And so much other things to talk about. Well, you know what? At the risk of sounding negative, I'm going to go ahead and speak on some good behalfs here. Now that I'm sitting back and just working on some new stuff, let's see, what show lineups do we have? Because, 2016 spring lineup for J360 wasn't all that good, if there ever was anything. Outside of the Fridays That Show there is. Let's see, speaking of which, what do I have here? I have the Cyclone series, alright. Yeah, that's still being worked on right now. It's still under hiatus. After all, I got to find some new people to put on it and really get the layout going. I do have some that came back, but I'm really working the system and the kinks out. And we did make a on-air pilot, but it was so lopsided, we're going to try again with that one. Let's see, the Power Play. Yep, Power Play comes back next week. And, of course, oh, yes, the J-Man Show itself. Yeah, I still got my own show to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on that right now. As a matter of fact, this is episode 6. So, welcome to the J-Man Show here on J360 Radio.
Right now, new and current customers can get any phone for free at US Cellular, so you can connect with all your family members this holiday season. You could even call your aunt who always makes you talk to your cousin, who's a dog. Or maybe just send her a festive text. Get the gift of connection at US Cellular. Get any phone free today. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
We value human connection with fewer distractions. US Cellular, built for us. Visit your US Cellular authorized agent, Cellular Advantage, located at 918 South Locust Street in Glenwood.
Whew, so, welcome back to the J-Man Show. I'm Jay, of course, and before we get into it, I remember somebody asking me a question if the J-Man Show is going to be on YouTube or not. Eventually. Right now, I'm just having such a good time on SoundCloud, and it'll happen someday, it's just not going to happen today or tomorrow. So, thank you for your question, but nah, not right yet. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I have to get back to work like everybody else do, so let's go and take a look at what's happening in Washington. Though I'm sure it's very foul. And it's hard to not find something that Donald Trump isn't tripping himself over on Twitter, but you'll be surprised that this Trump watch is a little different this week. The thing is now I'm looking at what the House GOP is up to. Remember ethics? Remember how, like, we had a principle of that line that you would never cross, and in terms because there was a respect, even though that you disagreed, that you still had a respect, and, AKA your code of conduct. Something to make sure that you don't do illicit, illegal things. To make sure that you're doing the right thing. Which is technically what media is supposed to be doing instead of talking about Kim Kardashian's butt most of the time. They're supposed to be keeping an eye on what the people and legislator are doing to keep them honest and provide a link for all of us to listen to how our government's going, while not overstepping their boundary and pretty much, ripping them apart in terms of ethics. There's still that standard there. Even if you disagree with them, you still should have a little bit of respect for your opponent, believe it or not. And there is a regulation in order. Well, believe it or not, a little thing called the Congressional Ethics Office was made in 2008 due to all of the scandals that happened on Capitol Hill. All sorts of illicit things, I should say. And you can take a look at a listing of this courtesy of NPR. But from what has happened, it seems as though that the House Republican Conference wants to get rid of that. I guess they don't want to be regulated anymore, and they try to regulate other people. And as the new Congress hasn't stepped in yet, it makes you wonder exactly what is the main goal here and what goes on in the back doors of Congress, especially if they don't want to be regulated. In the end, they pretty much are wanting to be able to do whatever they want to do. It's sad. You know what I mean? It's like this week's Trump Watch isn't even on Trump right now. It's on the rest of them, the ones that are following him. And it's not even the new Congress people that stepped in. This is the Republican House Conference doing this. Of course, they backpedaled on this not too long ago. This was news to get rid of this arm of government here. You need to be regulated. You need to be made sure that you do the right thing, especially when you're in charge of a nation. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's independent, that means that we really need it. Because why do the Republicans have to control everything? You know what I'm saying? Same thing like with the Democrats way back in the day. It's like, why? What is all this complete control? We're supposed to be working together. It's supposed to be centrist here. But I guess because, absolute power is the most important thing other than, what is it? Diverse power, I should say. Like, let's just go with that for time and sake of the argument. And, the ones that are really wanting to get rid of this, well, they must have done some things. Some things that I can't even talk about on the J-Man show. So that whole totalitarianist thing and the fact that this is reported and this is news. So while those of you that are sitting out there talking about how you hate mainstream media, oh, trust me, I agree with you in some aspects, but the thing is, we kind of need a link to what's going on. We need to know what's going on. There's a reason for media. Now, when media goes ahead and they do this extensive look into other things that really don't matter to you, I can understand. But when it comes to, like, finding out what's going on with these people that sit in these offices that we voted them in, or quote-unquote electoral college votes them in, the best thing that they're supposed to do is keep them honest. The problem is that they rely on money and ratings in order to do their job. It is not like they're going out there doing their job just, to be good citizens, retaining any sort of goals in mind other than making money. All the advertising pay, all of who plays golf with who this weekend, and all that sort of thing. It's a shame, especially when, mainstream media are closer to them than any of us will ever be. But the number one thing that we as a nation should never do, don't tune out. Pay attention. Be aware. Go to the newspapers, go to the local areas, use ProPublica, use Politico, NPR if you need to. There are good news outlets out there. It's just you're really going to have to dig deep, and you got to move on from Fox News and MSNBC for a while. But the fact that the Republicans, Donald Trump's not even in office yet, and all this change going on right here, this doesn't seem to benefit anyone, as usual, except them. Now, I'm not going to be biased about this and say that the Democrats haven't done this either. They have. The point is that why can't we just go ahead and work this out first? All of us just try to make the best out of this. Because, January 20th is going to be some serious shit going on. I'm just saying because, a lot of people do not want this man to be president. Everybody's out there saying not my president and everything else, so I can only imagine what's going to happen during that day. But all I'm saying is this. You want to keep that ethics center there. Because the idea is is that you have no control over it, and if you do something wrong, you have to answer to it, especially if you're in the public office and being civil servants, which technically you are. Another thing to do is to stop arguing with the media. If anything else, like, the media is to be our information link. Now, there are many other ways you can get information. This whole fake news thing, yeah, I get it. It's out there. But the thing is, stop arguing with it. Comb through it. If it's something that don't apply nothing to you, if it's not all that important, if it's anything that's really distracting, the idea is to get away from it. Most times out of 10, you know what's fake and you know what's bias. You have to look at all of the argument. So don't just stick to one news source. For every one news source you should have at least, like, I want to say 10 others. And I'm just being on estimate on that, but always be looking. Do your own research, know what's going on, and make sure you got it all figured out before you go ahead and announce it off. Because just now, I've received a story from Reuters here about the NAACP doing a sit-down strike against the choice that Donald Trump has for U.S. Attorney General. The guy's not a racist, but he is an asshole, from what I see. His name is Senator Jeff Sessions, and he's from Mobile, Alabama. Oh my gosh. He's 70 like Donald Trump, and he's had a record of controversial positions on race, immigration, and criminal justice reform. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly what some people have been afraid of. But you see, the thing is, where's all this Black Lives Matter and stuff now? This is something you need to be aware of. And it gets crazier, too, because, you know, the African-American lawmakers are forming a stand against Donald Trump. But you know what the thing is? Even though their hearts might be in the right place, or, you know, they might see it as dollar signs, who knows anymore? But the idea is, this is where that whole band together thing really needs to happen. Now, I'm not going to spread any fear like anything, so relax. It's just news that's going on right now. But the idea is, like, this doesn't sound good. This is somebody that's in charge of the law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying? You know, that thing that's kind of needed a bit of a reform and pretty much was controversial throughout most of last year. This is going to be the guy in charge. See, it's not just Donald Trump. I'm not too worried about him. But it's the ones that follow him you need to be aware of. I don't approve of Tillerson being Secretary of State. And I damn sure don't approve of this guy being U.S. Attorney General. Of all people to pick. Pretty much is becoming what you think it is. But the thing is, we the people, we can do something about it. But the thing is, you're going to have to be prepared to act when that time is right. And I'm not saying do anything illicit and illegal. I'm saying you know what to do and the right thing to do. If you don't agree with any of this stuff going on, you need to speak up. Especially if you voted. And for those of you, don't be sheep and don't be blinded by this stuff. Just be aware and don't tune out. God, this Trump watch here, man, it's ridiculous. Got to maintain, we got so many months to make it through, but we only got at least a week or so until this guy is the president. And this is another reason why you don't want ethics on the chopping block. It might be the suits and everything else, but people tend to forget that the ones that we put in office or any area of our government, they're people too, and everybody has a vice. And when they do some vices that are based on company time and when they're supposed to be working for us and making sure that this country is together, oh yeah, I would like to hear about it. I would like an investigation to be done. There still has to be an inquiry of some kind. And I would like that arm of the government to stay there to make sure that they stay honest. Especially if the media lets us down. You see where I'm saying with this? And yes, I did mention the media a lot in this Trump watch because obviously you'll just know who's paid off. It doesn't take much to realize it. So you have to open your mind to different sources. That's what we as a people need to do. If our government is so off balance, then we need to get back into balance at best. Because if we don't, I can only imagine some of the most outlandish things that are going to happen. I mean, what with the affordable health care hanging in the balance, we still have an energy crisis that is yet to be solved, and We also have labor issues out the wazoo that haven't really been solved during the time of Bush's term, let alone Obama's term. And now you got Donald Trump coming in here with the all-stars of everybody that knows how to make money, but they don't know how to distribute it well. You see what I'm saying? And then I can only imagine how education woes are going to be. There's a lot of things at stake here. And the first thing that the Republican committee wants to do is to go ahead and wipe out the center of ethics.
What the hell do you have to lose?
Oh my God. It's just, you can't make this up. You know what I'm saying? This is like, it's like all this has been written way back when. Like every movie that came out of the 80s talking about dystopia, it seemed like this is where it's coming in from. You know what I'm saying? I guess Donald Trump must still think it was the 80s. I mean, because, well, you know, if you look back at the debate, he was snorting a lot, like he actually did do some blow before he got up on the podium. So I guess we are living in those new 80s now. I mean, well, you know what? I guess I'm speaking a little ahead. Yeah, I really am. So it still remains to be seen, but still, you got to pay attention. I know I took a little time off and I didn't want to do any Trump watches for, you know, some of these episodes, but not on this one. This one's the start of 2017. I got to do my job like anybody else do. So outside of that, though, I do know a lot of you are actually going back to work today, and some of you are belly aching, and I wonder why. You're broke. You need your money back. Come on now, let's go ahead and make this money before, you know, somebody takes it from us. The point is this, we need to go ahead and do what we gotta do. All right, no belly aching, adulting is hard to do. Give that crap up. You know who made that shit? I'm gonna tell you this. The person who made that whole thing about adulting is hard to do is somebody that was entitled and given money. They didn't get off their ass and work to earn anything. So them saying that is pretty much a go-to excuse for everybody who doesn't want to do the dirty work to get the job done. You know, you can get a good, like I said, you might not get praise, but at least you get that money and them fringe benefits, you know what I mean? The ability to use that money to further your goals and everything else. Adulting ain't hard to do. You just need to stop being lazy. And you know, it just kills me how lazy people are nowadays, intellectually and physically. You know, even to this day, I just know, like, stuff is not going to be given to me. Now, I could go ahead and do, like, crowdfunding and everything else, and I could just sit there and bullshit and get money, but at the end of the damn day, what would be the point of that? I would work for it in addition to getting donations and then showing and building more of my workload, which I have a lot to do for 2017 outside of doing the J-Man show. Well, you probably heard a little bit of it in the cold opening, right? It's just, you know, this is not the time to be lazy and to stay in bed. No more sleeping in bed. Got to get up and do stuff. Got to be prepared for what's going on, because you got a lot of these people that are just not okay upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking clearly. And then they're going to go ahead and they're going to get rid of your one defense. Nowadays, the people need all the defense they can get because the government doesn't seem to be all together up there right now. And it's frightening. It makes you wonder, despite all the good entertainment and everything else that's supposed to be coming out, you know, for those of us to play, watch, and enjoy, don't let it distract you from what's really going on, because bread and circus is a thing that they use to keep us from asking questions, to keep us from going, you know, to get the answers that we need, or the answers you don't really want the answers you want the answers you need. You know what I mean? We'll go into wants and needs sometime on a different episode. But the thing is this, pay attention to what's going on. Okay? Now, as usual, when we get into like 15 minutes in, that's not the real topic for today. The real topic for today is pretty much looking into my goals for the year. And I really shouldn't tell you my goals anyway, because if I do, I probably won't follow through. Actually, I'm teasing. You know how some people have like New Year's resolutions and everything else, and they don't follow them, and like they do it on the first day, maybe the second or third day if they are lucky and really are showing off and getting the attention for it. But by the first weekend or going into next week, it'll just never be a thing anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm chilling out the first few days. You know why? Because really, that new year, new me talk is a very good selling point. And a lot of big businesses know that because, yes, that is the reason why they push all the exercise equipment out there and all that creatine that you may not need, because they know you're going to buy it because you're all about, oh, this is my new time. This is my year. This is everything I need to do. See, with me, I'm going to slow down on that because the thing about it is, yeah, sure, you think it, but thinking it and doing it are two very different things. It's okay to write it down. It's okay to make a memo for it, but really, you don't want to tell anybody this stuff. You want to do it because it's your quest. And they'll know. You keep pushing for you and everything else. If you want to tell somebody, tell your wife. Or tell your mom or something like that. But the thing is, you don't want to tell too many people of it because they'll expect it and they'll weigh you down with all these things. Because all of a sudden, then they take what is yours and then they'll go ahead and say, well, you were supposed to do this. Sometimes the best thing to do is to show your results. Don't talk about it, show your result. As for me, I do have some plans, significant plans. And you will all see them this year, especially before December rolls out. Because at least now, like some of the things that I did in 2016, they were great, but the execution was a bit off. But now that I know how to work them out, I know exactly what to do. So it's a learning experience for 2016. It's not going to be like, oh, you don't think I'm just going to sit here and do a radio show and talk bad about Donald Trump and then not give you anything that's enjoyable, right? Because I'm currently evolving the J-Man show as we speak. Soon enough, I can see a lot of you calling in and, give me some of your suggestions or, tell me some things that are bothering you. A little bit more on the interaction side of things. I plan on doing some special events, especially for, certain holidays that are coming up. And crossing over with other Potter and family members. Because, the concept is just too good to pass up. Take some of my hilarity and mix it with some of their hilarity, and you might have something incredible coming. And yes, it seems to be a little bit vague as I speak about these things, but you know what? The anticipation is there, isn't it? So, you'll see. When you make these changes, though, don't just make these changes for other people. Make the changes for you. It's a lot more appreciative if you do. Because deep down on the inside, you never know who you inspire, but you never know when you might attract a saboteur. So you should always be prepared, in case you do attract a saboteur. Because a saboteur, that's what they do. They just want to botch you up because they don't want to see you change. They want to see you in that new way. And it's like this. If you got some friends out there that say, oh, you've changed. You're not the same way you used to be. The best thing you can say is, I had to. Or really, thank God. Yeah, thank goodness that I had the ability to change. Thank goodness that I'm glad that this is my time to do that because obviously the last few years were not exactly good to me. So as I had to change and change the method and everything else, things have gotten better. There's a reason why I have my own show on J360 now than I ever did. I had to make some changes and stuff. So as I'm doing this right now, I'm giving you some taste of what's real. And I'm making fun of it every step of the way. The point is that, yeah, I get it. Like everybody says, new year, new me and stuff. Well, here's the thing. There might not be anything wrong with the old you, but there are some things that you need to change about yourself so that you can get the results you want. Now, in some cases, some people like to get away from other people. I've done it before. Some people like to get away from jobs that really didn't do anything for them. I did that too. And then some people are buried into their own selves because little did they realize they might be the problem more than anything else. Hell yeah, I know that shit. And I'm sure everybody has ran into the top 3 that I've said, one way or another. But, you're only human. And the thing is that you should not condemn yourself for your past mistakes. You should really just pay attention and just hope that it never happens again. And just move forward, and just make notes of all your flaws. Like, sometimes writing this stuff down is very important. Make note of your flaws. Make note of a lot of things that you want to change and go about changing them. If you realize that, the time it takes for you to struggle and try to change somebody else, in that time, you could just change yourself. Changing yourself is a lot more important than trying to change people around you. Because eventually, if they wake up, they'll probably realize that, oh, I need to change too. So, as I talk about my changes, I don't really talk about them too much. I talk about the changes I have for the company. But for me, Yeah, pretty much working on myself. And that's what you need to do. And you know what? It also makes good inspiration for movies. Those of you out there, I hate to really turn this around, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway because that's how this show usually goes. But don't ever be hampered down by you running around saying new year, new me. If you're really going to make the difference and you're going to change stuff around, do it for you. Do it big time. This is your time now, despite Donald Trump's ignorant ass getting into the office, despite a lot of stuff. Like I said, the joke's going to be on the people who voted for him. And if anything, you should check out this website called, well, not website per se, or actually it is a website now, I think. It's called Trump Regrets, where you see a lot of people posting things on social media about them regretting their vote for Donald Trump. It's funny in hindsight, The thing is that I'm not a Donald Trump supporter by any means, and I get tired of saying that, but I have to let y'all know that, it's just that I want somebody in there that could do the job, and I really have zero faith in him. It'd be like working for Trump Tower. If I realize how shitty it is, I'm gonna leave. That's just me, Of course, after I done got my money and got where I needed to be. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you gotta study certain people. You gotta make sure you know exactly what your enemy is. And I'm not saying he's the enemy, but I'm saying right now I just don't have time for his dumb fuckery. You know what I mean? Especially as a taxpayer. Oh, which, by the way, did he show his taxes yet? Because I'm sure he probably didn't follow through like he was supposed to. I mean, if you're going to run around and take one of the most reasonably minded presidents out there and talk about the fact that he might have not been born in this country, even though, Hawaii is a state, the idea is this. Then put your money where your mouth is. Have you been paying your taxes? See what I'm saying? But you know what? A lot of people will go to his aid and defend him and say he doesn't have to. But, it is what it is. I think one good turn deserves another. If you're going to pull up some old stuff, don't be afraid to show your integrity as well. Because, what do you have to hide? After all, you did win, right? Like, that whole thing was just ridiculous. I remember his first time running. But obviously, he learned from that. So, I don't know. Maybe he's got to make a few mistakes before he actually understands that the world doesn't revolve around him. Even if you win top public office. But like I said, that's something he's going to have to work on for his changes. And since he's 70 years old, he doesn't have a good shot at this. So, that being said, for those of you out there, I could ask a lot of you what your goals are, but the thing is, it's more important to you what your goals are than it is to me. I'll be honest with you about that, because if you're unsatisfied about a lot of things that happened in 2016, well, this is the perfect time for you to recover from that. Like, this is the perfect time for you to actually learn a new skill, language, and, to go ahead and change things around for you. This is the perfect time for you to maybe understand a market you know nothing about, or maybe to say, all right, maybe I will buy that house this year, or maybe I'll get that BMW because I think I can afford it. Go ahead and say, like, what you really want. Now, I know that's kind of a want, but a lot of people really do like their wants. But, like, if you have some times where you need to change, like, say, oh, you know what? I need to control this addiction. I need to get off this gambling. I need to go ahead and fix a problem that's really destroying my home life. Or I need to control this vice. You know what I'm saying? It's not just preventing, it's controlling it. Can you control it? Or, in some people's cases, I need to control my anger a lot better. It's just goals that you make steps to, and, you can have support for it. There is support. And believe me, if you're honest and for truth about this, you have my support already. Now you got to make it count. For you. If you really want to change, you want to do it, just go about doing it instead of telling people. Obviously, like some of us, we want to go ahead and find our soulmates this year. And the best way to go about doing that is to play the game and stop player hating. Stop being a bitch about this, Something I had to learn when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Because you're not entitled to any job position out there. And you're not entitled to any person to actually go to bed with. That's what makes the dating game so much fun. That you have the ability to do these things and that you play it well. Now, the problem is that some people are so into Disneyfication. Not to go against Disney, because I like Disney. But the thing is that they're so into the idea of getting that one. They probably think they're here at the end of the movie where they get that one, they live happily ever after. No, it doesn't work like that. Because you have to deal with the idea of somebody else's complex behaviors, vices, and everything else. Like, always measuring up to the ex. What makes you think that you have to measure up to the ex? She's with you now. She's not with the ex. The ex probably thinks that he has a shot in there again. But the thing is, he fucked up the first time. He'll be like, oh, I'm her first. That's pretty much the go-to saying for any superior quote-unquote ex-boyfriend. He was there first. Like it's a damn consolation prize. Okay, this is what you do. You should say this, well, I'm her last, back the hell up. And sure, your lady will probably look at you as a jerk maybe, because ladies don't have this emotional problem, do they? If you believe that, you haven't been dating long. Matter of fact, you might be in elementary school where you don't notice this stuff. But then again, you never know because, yes, they have this problem too. It happens. Trust me. And if you still don't believe me, check out World Star Hip Hop or any of them viral videos. 9 times out of 10, it's usually somebody that's in between the two that, or 3 or 4, that they're fighting over, and you look and see, damn, he must be good at one thing, or she must be good at one thing. It's always like that. But then again, the idea is this. Game knows game. And somebody trying to get all up in that, if they really appreciated it, they would have stayed. If they really appreciated all the loving from the past, they would have stayed. You wouldn't be there as the current boyfriend. So, for those of you out there, okay, you know what? I say that in terms because I'm a guy. But let's be honest here. For those of you that are looking for love and you are feeling inadequate about this stuff, don't feel inadequate. You're the current guy or girl. Play the game. You see, because the other persons that are on the outskirts of a budding relationship or a date, 9 times out of 10, if they're showing off to do this sort of thing, it's because they believe that you are not worth the person you're dating's time and they feel as though they can take your spot anytime they want to. It's like when somebody wants to cut in on your dance. Don't let anybody cut in on your dance. Get your significant other if you want to. Pursue. Be the reason why they're afraid and inadequate of you. They might be scared of you. And that being said, they don't respect you. Now, I'm no relationship expert, but I'm going to delve into this topic in the Valentine's Day episode. So that one's on the house for those of you that want to change your dating game up this year. Just go ahead and give you the kickstart you need. There are reasons why you have to deal with this kind of stuff. I guess because they think they're entitled. But the thing is, a lot of times, those motherfuckers that are entitled, they don't get what they want. You focus on yourself. If you got to make the right changes so that you can go ahead and be who you really are, do what you got to do. It's what I got to do, And I started off right by not telling people exactly what changes I'm going to make. Now, as far as J360 changes go, you're going to see a lot of those. Because there is no reconstruction this year. It's going to be what it's going to be. And what J360 Productions is going to be is what it's meant to be. You know why? Because I said so. Vague maybe, but straight and to the point. I have some movies lined up that I want to go ahead and produce this year, in addition to bringing some life to some old scripts I've written. Yeah, because they might not turn into movies. Some of those scripts are going to turn into something a little more. And you shall see in the days to come. And I remember another thing I've spoken about during the categories of changes. In terms of letting people go and, making new friends. Sometimes you have to. You know what I mean? There's a point in your life where you may have matured a little bit more than the people that you hang out with. The people that are your friends and everything else. Whereas you're evolving as a person and the conversation topics have changed for you. Like a long time ago, you probably talk about how hot Miss January is. You know what I mean? If you were like a teen or something like that saying, damn, if I had a shot with her, oh man, that'd be amazing. All the crazy sex and all the money. Whereas nowadays you're probably like, gee, I wonder what the legislator is trying to do as they are trying to get rid of the Center for Congressional Ethics. Yeah, I give it different titles, just change it up. But the thing is that you see how it has changed. My mindset has changed a lot from years on in. And the thing is, it's going to continue to change because you evolve. You start thinking about different topics. Nowadays, I like to think about if it's the right time to pursue a business this year or just wait until 2018 because I want to see how the market has developed, what sort of stock options I have. Is the job outlook looking a lot better than, this year than it was last year? And it's kind of hard to say because, this year just started. You know what I mean? So it's got to be looking somewhat good. There are things that are more important now to talk about than there were years ago. And the thing is, it's lonely enough if you can't talk about these important topics with somebody who obviously hasn't hit that idea where it's important to them. Or they handle the conversations as a way of going from 0 to 60, and they overtalk you, they don't listen, or they don't respect where you're coming from, and they don't really like to, work with people. And then at the end of the day, they get mad about some of your friends that you have and everything else. Like, your life is in your hands and under your control, not under the control of the people you choose to spend it with. It's like this. Some people are so on thin ice with me nowadays, it's amazing that they're even there. If you feel as though that they don't respect you enough and you are not being heard and you're not being appreciated right, then that's your time. That just goes to show that, maybe you have to let them go. Maybe you have to leave from them. Maybe you have to go do your own thing for a while, because the thing is, they didn't appreciate and respect you while you were there, and now that you want to make some significant changes and stuff, they shaking in their boots now because they don't want no new change. A lot of people want people they can control. You know what I mean? Like, when you're at work and stuff like that, and you got some big mouth that thinks that they know everything and pretty much acts like they're your boss, but they're not your boss, and you check them about that, they have a problem with that now, because see, the thing is, they couldn't control you. They couldn't manipulate you in a way where you have to work with them. And there are people out there that want to do that kind of stuff on people. Don't fall into the trap. The idea is this. It's good to give kindness and it's good to receive it. But the thing is that when you got some people that give false kindness, you can see right through that shit. That think that something revolves around them. Like, when I created a series one time, the motherfucker thought it was about him, and needless to say, I took the series away. The thing is that it doesn't belong to them. When people in this team work on a series together, it's when the team functions. And the thing is this. Nobody is entitled to anything, as I reminded them years ago. Somebody else had to learn the hard way when I continued the show on without them. Because the thing is, one monkey don't stop no show. And for those of you entrepreneurs out there like this, you think it's easier to work with your friends, don't you? Not all the time. You have to be a leader. You have to run your brand. And as you make changes to personnel, it probably needed to be done. You have to make these hard choices. That's what makes you a leader. Unfortunately, when you're doing and making changes, you have to change. Otherwise, there's no chain of command there. There has to be order and structure. As you can see, order and structure is going out the window in Washington right now. And it's going to get worse. Hopefully not as worse as a lot of us think. But yeah, there's going to be much needed repair to that wagon. Just like a lot of things. Like I said before, if you feel as though that you're not being appreciated and that your views are not being represented the way they need to be, and you have to move on from people who don't see that the same way, move on if you can. And it's a little bit different when it comes to jobs. When it comes to jobs, however, the best thing you can do in a job is move up. Because somebody else sits there and complain all the time, just be like, yeah, I hear you, and just going ahead and do the job that they won't do. Because, your promotion and your rise is all about you. Has nothing to do with them. And then you can always talk to somebody about moving on to a different team, to learn that aspect and stuff. You got to be willing to learn. You got to be more open about yourself. Now, honestly, if they do treat you unfair at the job, always be looking for another one. Always be in that mode where you look for something new. And try to leave amicably, but always think this. Your mindset is your evolution, your growth, and everything is entirely up to you. It's like when you walk away from a group that you don't want to be a part of anymore, it's entirely up to you. You don't owe them an explanation. It's just that simple. Like, I've lost a lot of friends, but I've also gained some new friends too. And the thing is that, in terms of those new friends, they get to that point where, none of us really agree or work together like anything, then that's the time to leave. More or less meet you at the crossroads. I mean, the path has changed. Things have gotten different. And that's just the way. You don't feel guilty about it. Like I said, it could be bad for you in the beginning. But as strong as you are, you can go on your own for a little bit and you can meet a new party to help you. You can have a new group. Like I said before, I know a lot of people that are moving on, are in different phases of their lives now, and soon enough I'll be in a different phase of my life too. Of course, I'll still be doing the J-Man Show and J360 most likely, but the thing is this, anything can happen, and sometimes the goals and the mission changes, and you got to change with it, along with the people that are in your life. You know what I mean? Just like some people say, oh, we're going to be lifelong friends, we're going to be friends forever. Yeah, that sounds nice, but realistically, things change. People get married. People have new friends to go to. People hang out with more people at their job than they do outside in their own lives because they live a private life at home and they really don't want to hang out with, people around that area. So they hang out with people at work a little bit more. People are complex. And like I say, anybody can be replaced, especially in a business. So as you are working in a business, you'll understand that sentiment should not override your judgment. If they're not pulling their weight in your own business, you got to let them go. I'm talking to all you independent entrepreneurs out there. Like, if you're going through so much hell and you're not getting the results that you need out of the people you trust, it's time to go ahead and move on from it. Get some new people to fill the gaps. Always be looking. Because the thing is that you don't want to be the guy that's standing there holding the bag all the time and feeling miserable, but always reassessing yourself and saying, well, they're my friends, they're never going to let me down, until the day when it really counts and they do let you down. And then it's like, now what? So if you got to make that change and shift around personnel in your life, do it. Make the change for yourself. Because, it's just, you will lose a lot of time and energy trying to get people to do the right thing by you when they should have been doing it in the first place. And if they are pretty much not doing it for you in the first place, well, you gotta let them go. Like, I don't have any control over that kind of change. That just happens with human interaction and evolution at best. Because we do evolve on this world. As we age, as we get older, as things change, time's moving forward. Time never stops because of this. And since it is the new year, I want a lot of you to understand this. Go ahead and follow through with something you never wanted to do, right? This year, do something that actually scares you a little bit so you can conquer a fear. That's my testament for you. And then, when December rolls around and you all talk about it, you'll be happy that you did it. Right? Yeah. Okay. So back in episode 4, I asked you all a question regarding intellectual properties. Now, if you all had the rights to intellectual property, which one would it be? A lot of you picked Spider-Man. Really? You mean, I opened it to any of them, and the majority of you picked Spider-Man. It's because of Tom Holland. By the time any of y'all get your hands on these rights, right, Tom Holland will probably be 30 and have like 3 different kids and stuff. And his eldest done went off to college. I'm kidding. Though that may happen because, like I said, things are born to evolve, and I don't think comic movies are going to leave us for a long time. There's plenty of you production companies out there that do your own superhero fan films. And then some of you, create your own superheroes. I mean, I remember Sam Raimi actually wanting to do the Shadow movie, and he could never get the rights to it, so what he did was create Darkman. And, despite all the crazy stuff that happened in there, it is a superhero film. So, take the time to go ahead and do that. I mean, this is a new year. This is the time to experiment, so I don't see how any of you couldn't do it. Unless you're going to use a lot of CGI, which at the same time, have a motion graphics creator for that. Or looking to hit film. But still, yeah, go ahead and do it. Do it. Make this count this year. This is why I gave you that question, and I waited this long to do it. But now, in terms of music licensing, however, make sure you know of a composer or make sure you work out a deal with any of these independent musicians out here. And then that way you can all help each other out. But right now, though, work on writing your screenplay. Hey, you want to know something ironic about this episode? I don't have a question of the week. Yeah, isn't that something? Come back into the show in 2017. Don't have a question to start off 2017. But hear me out. I have a plan for this. I'm going to play a little bit of the numbers game. See, episode 7 is next week, and episode 7 I'll also be interviewing a special guest. So as I'm doing that, I'll have my question to start off 2017 on the 7th episode. See? Lucky. Right? Oh god, when I saw the Psycho show, he told everybody that the magic number thing is actually a myth and that we should stop using it. And I just used it, so I apologize to VJ if he ever hears this. But the thing is that it kind of works, believe it or not. It systematically works this time. But maybe just because I had to hyper-focus to do it. But enough rambling for one episode. Now remember the changes that I told you all about. Like any of those 3 changes is probably what's floating through people's minds. And yeah, I didn't go into the standard change of, losing weight and everything else. Because once again, it's something that you can do if you push yourself to do it. So no need to go ahead and add that in there. The thing is this, folks. It's 2017, new year, new administration, and new problems to face and old challenges to take care of. We need to make our mark this time. So outside of, all those other issues and everything else, let's step up. Let's do it. Let's do more. Let's be better than what they stereotypically think of all of us. So I'm going to leave that as a thought for the road. Come in next week and listen to my big interview with Mark and Margot, their upcoming band in Delaware, and they're pretty awesome at what they do. And of course, he's also a filmmaker, believe it or not, so you'll probably get some insights from him. I was going to show you a preview of the Cyclone episode that we've recorded, but the problem is that the episode came out wrong. It's so disjunctive, there's really nothing you can do with it other than make it a wraparound for something. So I'd like to apologize to all the teammates that were out there working with me on this pilot, because things just were not going to go right no matter what we did. And we went through different alternatives to record it. So in some manner, that episode just didn't want to be made. But considering you're only as good as your last show, we'll just have to try again. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our episode for the week. I'll be back next week with my 2 special guests, and we're going to have something pretty cool to listen to. It'll be a bit different from the last couple of shows you've seen, but then again, technically every show is a little different, right? Okay, until next time, this is Jay, signing off. I'll see you later.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
When you download the Baker's app, you have easy access to savings every day. Get the most out of weekly sales and receive personalized coupons to save on your favorite items, all while earning 1 fuel point for every $1 spent. Baker's makes it easy to save while you shop, whether it's in-store or online, so you get the most value out of every trip, every time. Download the Baker's app now to save big on your next purchase. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.